We're back on the record in 14 CR 1432. Mr. Jones does appear in custody. He's represented by Ms. Smith, and Mr. Colvin, Mr. Rubenstein, and Mr. Wade are both here for the people. And we're outside the presence of our jury. How are we proceeding at this point? Still on defense witnesses or Mr.
Yes,
Colvin?
Judge, we have two more witnesses, one of which is extremely short. The other one is going to, we think will be done in an hour.
Okay, sounds good.
And Judge, I have screenshots that were prepared for me by Ms. Smith. These screenshots were done contemporaneously as best we could do it, reflecting the testimony of Mr. Kochiver. And copies of these were previously sent to prosecution. As I understand, they have no objection. I didn't mark these as defense exhibits because that didn't seem appropriate. I wasn't clear if you wanted me to, however.
I don't think it's necessary. We can just, did you have it by email to the prosecution by chance? I'm wondering.
I did.
It may be clearer for us, given the type of exhibit it is. If we try to scan it, it may not be so clear. So if we could have the electronic exhibit or version, that would be great.
I can email it right now.
That would be better. 'Cause
Okay,
I'm not
so the
logged into my
prosecution.
server, so.
All right, thank you. And then it's just by agreement, we'll upload it into the system as the exhibit referred to by Mr. Kochiver.
Thank you.
That works.
And Judge, it's my understanding that Mr. Colvin doesn't have email access, but Ms. Smith might?
I do.
You do? Okay, I will just copy Ms. Smith. If that's okay with the defense, I'll forward that to the court, copy Ms. Smith, and I'll indicate in that email that the people have no objection.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll probably just upload the email too as part of the whole thing. Thanks. Mr. Rubenstein.
Judge, just for other scheduling matters, I did get permission from defense counsel after their two witnesses. Art Smith is technically still on the witness stand and would need to retake the witness stand. We have a witness, Dr. France, the forensic anthropologist, that we've gotten permission from defense to just put her on and get her done with so she can drive back to Fort Collins.
Okay.
And then we'll resume with Captain Smith after that and get back with the rest of the trial.
Mr. Colvin.
That's all
Good.
by agreement.
All right, thank you.
And with that, when the court's ready, I think
We're ready.
we're ready.
All right, thanks. I'll go ahead and call for a jury. We're still at the point the lawyers tell me where they're going to continue with two defense witnesses, and then we're going to switch back over to the prosecution's case. As you know, the prosecution's last witness was Captain Smith on Friday. they need to call a different prosecution witness before him, and then they're going to resume with him. But it's all just to cooperate with each other, be efficient, and for their witnesses' convenience as well. So thank you,
Judge, if we
Mr.
can approach
Rubenstein.
just for a very brief
Sure.
moment.
You want to tell Harry why I approach?
Ladies and gentlemen, one other scheduling matter for you. On Friday morning, that's December the 16th, we'll be starting at 9:45 that morning instead of 9 o'clock this Friday. Thanks. And sleep in a little bit.
The defense's next witness will be Investigator Cannon, and we're checking to see if he's got up to our level. So I think
Okay.
he's literally coming up the elevator, as I understand it.
Thank you. You'll just be careful, this black cord, investigator, and then I need to give you an oath. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. All right, thank you, sir. And then you can proceed whenever you're ready, Ms. Smith. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you say what your name is?
James Cannon,
How do you spell Cannon?
Cannon.
And how are you currently employed?
Investigator with the District Attorney's Office.
How were you employed in 2006?
Deputy with the Mesa County Sheriff's Office.
And on June 6th of 2006, did you take a report of a kidnapping incident from Heather Honeycutt?
Yes.
Okay. And did you investigate those allegations?
I was dispatched to a harassment, which I investigated, and the kidnapping was turned over to the Grand Junction Police Department.
Okay. When you spoke with Ms. Honeycutt, did she report being kidnapped?
Effectively, yes.
Okay. And did she report that happened 2 times?
Yes.
Who did you determine was the suspect? Who did you name as the suspect of those 2 incidents?
She named gentleman Wayne.
Okay. And then who did you determine that Wayne to be?
D'Amico, I believe is how the name is pronounced.
Okay. I guess I just have a couple more questions. Did you determine that by, what information did you use to determine that? Like address, phone, employment, things like this?
Address and license plate information.
Okay. All right. I have nothing else. Thank you very much, Mr. Investigator Can.
Mr. Waite.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Did you also investigate a little bit further in terms of what Ms. Honeycutt had told you about the situation?
Yes.
As a result of what she had told you, did you look at her vehicle?
Yes.
Were you looking specifically for damage to her vehicle?
Yes, I was.
And did you find any?
No, I did not.
Did you also, as part of what she had told you, did you also examine her for injuries?
Yes.
And did you find any injuries?
No, I did not.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Smith, redirect.
No,
No?
nothing based on that. Investigator Cannon can be released from the subpoena and excused.
Any objection from the people?
No,
Mr. Waite says no. Mr. Rubenstein says no. So you're released from your subpoena, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your next witness, please, Ms. Smith.
The defense calls Heather Honeycutt.
Feel free to stretch if anybody wishes. Good afternoon. If you'll approach it, just be careful of this black cord. I need to give you an oath before you testify, please. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And then if you have a seat in the green chair by the microphone, please. Thank you. And you can proceed whenever you're ready, Ms. Smith. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you please state your name?
Heather Harper.
Okay, what last name did you used to have?
Honeycutt.
How do you spell Harper?
Harper.
And how do you spell Honeycutt?
Hunnicutt.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
And where do you live?
I live in Huntsville, Alabama.
Did you ever live in Grand Junction?
Yes.
And what was your last name when you lived in Grand Junction?
It was both. It was Honeycutt and Harper.
Oh, okay. And when did you live in Grand Junction?
I lived here from 1996 until 2010.
I want to orient you back to 2006. Was there an incident in 2006 that made you call the police?
Yes.
And what happened?
I was followed by a man on several occasions.
Okay, let me ask you a couple questions about that. Who did you know to be the suspect? Who did you identify as the person who did that to you?
It came down to Wayne D'Amico.
Okay. And you said there was several occasions. I want to talk to you first about the first time.
Yes.
Do you recollect which time was the first
Yes.
time? Okay. When would you say that happened the first time?
That was in February of 2006.
And what happened that time?
It was the middle of the night. I had been taking a friend home from a party. We stopped at a gas station on North Avenue, and Wayne had opened the door to the gas station and kind of looked at me, and I just kind of got this weird vibe from him. And I got back in my car, and my friend had noticed Wayne's truck. I didn't know his name was Wayne at the time. It was just a really standout truck, the paint style and all that. And I proceeded to drive to Clifton to take my friend home, and Wayne followed us. And then I dropped my friend off, and then I was at the underpass on 30 Road when Wayne started yelling out his window at me and trying to get my attention. I had been smoking, and so my window was down so I could hear him yelling things at me. And so that's when I ran, I didn't run a red light, but I went, instead of turning left at the underpass, I went straight on 30 Road, and it was like 1 in the morning. And so I was on the phone talking to my friend and trying to get away from Wayne because I thought he was just some, drunk weirdo. And that's when he had bumped into my car in the back, and so I pulled over to see if he had damaged my car, and that's when he proceeded to aggressively grab me, and I didn't fight him because it was pitch black and I was scared. And so he took me back to his house that night, and his son ended up coming home a couple hours later unexpected, and that's when he kind of just let me go.
Okay. Let me go back and ask you a couple clarifying questions about that.
Okay.
So, you and your friend first noticed him at the gas station?
Yes.
And he was inside the gas station?
I think he followed me in. He held the door open for me and then walked behind me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
And then did you say something about him, peering out of the gas station?
Yes, because I got back in my car and I had been sitting there. I just got a pack of cigarettes with my friend, and we were just sitting in the car, and he was just buying something in the gas station. And yeah, he was definitely, it was 1 or 2 in the morning. We were the only people there.
Okay. And then, can I ask, and I don't mean to be rude by asking you this, but can you explain a little bit why when if this man is scary, is following you and you're having some uneasy feelings about it, why you would pull over and not maybe just keep going?
When I was driving my friend home, I wasn't the one who noticed he was following us.
I see.
It wasn't until later that my friend had said, "Oh, by the way, he did follow us, but he turned on another road." So he didn't bring it up to me. It wasn't until I got to the 30 road underpass that I noticed his truck again, and that was the first time that I had seen him since the gas station. But I did recognize it, and I mean, I was a partying teenager at the time.
I see.
And I was drinking and driving, and so I thought he was just some drunk guy on the road.
I see.
Trying to, I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah.
Okay, maybe not thinking the best.
Clearly, yeah.
Okay. How old were you?
I think I had just turned 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about how you ended up, and you got back to his house? What did the two?
Pass out, but I knew that the certain drugs that he had would make me stay awake.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So,
So that was almost like a safety decision? on your
yeah,
part?
because most date rape drugs make you pass out and go to sleep. But with my previous encounter with the other drugs, I knew that I wouldn't go to sleep.
Was it cocaine or methamphetamine?
I think it was meth. I mean, that's what I was told.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. I had only used it one other time in high school.
What, was there any sexual activity that night with Mr. D'Amico?
No, that's the time that he tried, and I had told him that I had made up that it was that time of the month, or maybe it was that time of the month, and he made me, like, wipe myself in the bathroom to show him that it was that time of the month, so
Okay.
I was still trying to, like, play it cool and, like, because all he kept saying is, like, let's party, and so I was just trying to, like, be like, oh, well, my friends are expecting me back home, like, I gotta get back home, and my phone was ringing off the hook, all my friends were calling me all night, my roommates, and so, yeah.
So he wanted to have sex with you, but you were able to get out of that?
Right.
Okay. And then you said it ended when his son came home?
Yes.
Okay. And then how did his son come?
He heard his son pull in the driveway, and he just kind of shoved me out like a side door, like a sliding glass door from, like, either a back room or a master bedroom.
Did you report that incident?
No.
How come?
Just fear, and, like, kind of since nothing did come of it, I was just scared.
Okay.
And my roommates were, and that was a bad time in my life. I mean, I wasn't living the best life with my roommates and making the best decisions as it is. So I brushed it off, and
Okay. How long do you estimate that you were at Mr. D'Amico's house that night?
a few hours.
After that night, did you hear from Mr. D'Amico again?
Yes.
How?
When I was at his house, he had gone through my phone and apparently got my number, and he called me on multiple occasions. I had friends, answer the phone, because both my roommates and my boyfriend at the time knew what happened, and so they would answer the phone sometimes and, like, tell him, to get lost and things like that. And yeah, he called a few times.
Okay, so even though you hadn't reported it to law enforcement, you told other people what
Right.
had happened?
Yes.
What's the reason that now that this man's calling you, how come you don't go to the police and report it at that point? Similar reasons?
Yeah, I really couldn't answer my thought process.
Okay. Now, was there a second incident with Mr. D'Amico?
Yes.
When was that?
That was a few months later. I had been moving from my roommates with my boyfriend at the time, and I was going back to my house to get some stuff late at night. All three of me and my roommates, we all worked in a nursing home at nights, and my friends weren't home, and he followed me to my house that night. And I knew who he was, and I hadn't seen him following me since. He just only called me. And I was like immediately fearful. And that time he was a lot more aggressive.
Okay, I want to talk to you more about that, but let me take one step back first. So you'd never told him where you lived?
No.
Okay. You said he followed you to your?
Well, he showed up at my house when I was in the driveway.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't see, he just pulled up right in front of my house.
I see. You don't know how he
Yeah.
got there or how he found out where
Right.
you lived. Okay. Now, you said he was much more aggressive this time? Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to say yes or no out
Oh,
loud.
yes.
And how so?
Just the way he grabbed me that time. Like, he actually, like, physically, like, grabbed me and was like, come on. And it was late again.
Okay. So, what happened after? You're in your driveway, you just pulled up, and then he pulls up behind you?
I was parked in my driveway, and then he was kind of parked behind my car the other way, parallel.
And then what happens once you get out of your car?
I think I was carrying some stuff or something, and then I kind of set it down to kind of like confront why he was there.
I see.
And the passenger door was facing my house, and that's when he's like, I mean, that night's kind of a blur. I've spent 10 years trying to forget about this, so.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to ask you questions to bring it up. What else can you remember about happening once you saw him that night?